that right there until that red thing comes up.
Okay.
But just once every 20 minutes. Like it was suggested by some, photographers. I was like, that's it. That's all it does. It's 20 minutes.
All right, let's open up a prayer real quick, and I'm going to pass it off to Mr. Chris. Father, thank you so much for tonight. Thank you so much for broadening our minds, for helping us to learn more about who you are and about how you made us how we are. We love you, and we're thankful for the chance to come together. We ask you to bless tonight and open our minds to learn a lot. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Hey, buddy.
Hello, everybody. My name is Chris Lesley. I go to this church. You've probably seen me do some of the live paintings and stuff like that. I'm that guy. I'm a theme park artist by trade. I build theme parks, so I sculpt, and I'm an artist. I do pretty much everything: paint, draw, all this kind of stuff. But one of my passions is creation. Me being a designer, and an artist gives me an insight onto design that God has shown us. And one of the stumbling blocks that I see for online and for a lot of people is the idea of chimp and human similarity. And people don't know how to answer that. And so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that and some other things to get you prepared for going into school. How many here are going into public school? About half, right? Okay, you're going into public school, and they're going to teach you about evolution and stuff like that. It's all nonsense. But I'm going to show you some of the things that I found out. There's a lot of very deceptive tricks that evolutionists pull. And these are just little puzzles, and they are easy to figure out. They really are. And I'm not sure why, even some of the big creation groups like ICR, AIG, and some of the others, why they don't, discuss this more thoroughly. But a while back, it was in the 70s, two scientists, one named Wilson and King, they wrote a story about DNA, or actually they were talking about proteins. You have proteins inside your cells all throughout your body. And so they did a study, and they said that these proteins were 99% similar in humans and chimpanzees. And so what happened was tabloids and other evolutionary articles they went out and just started saying that chimps and humans were 99% similar in their DNA. Now, protein and DNA is very different. The DNA is made up of proteins. But from what they were saying that the entire DNA strand in all your body, all your information, is 99% similar to chimps. But that's not what King and Wilson had originally said. They said these proteins that they were doing. It turns out that these proteins were less than 2%. It was 1.45 or 1.485% of the entire genome, all your information in your DNA cell. So this is their number. Evolutionists. Let me write this real quick. There are a lot of evolutionists today that still say that. They'll still say 98% somewhere. Well, I've dug into it myself, and I want to show you a few things that you should know so that you know that this isn't true. Number one, the chimp information is 12% more than the human. So how do you get 99% if the chimp DNA is 12% larger already? You're 88%. At 88%, because out of 100%, minus 12% is 88%. So we're starting out with just looking at the size difference that the chimp and human is 88% different. Right? You understand that so far? Well, so 12% size difference comes to 88. Well, the next thing that you have to do is look and see what you can match up. See what will match up. And so what they have done is calculated that 76% of that 88% actually matches up. I'll explain, because that is not exactly true. So 76%, actually, yeah, 76% of 88% is 66%. Now, in just two methods, I've shown you that the highest number that chimp and human similarity can be is 66%. Because we have the size difference, and we have what matches. Right? 76% of that 88%. In a sense, you have, let's say, this is the entire DNA strand of the chimpanzee. This is the entire DNA strand of a man. And there's that 12% difference. I want to make sure that you understand that and that's clear. So after you figure that out, after you check what's homologous and what matches, it comes up to 66%. No school is ever going to accept that. It's got to be 99% or 98%. That's it. Even though they know that this was a protein study that they were doing and not a DNA study, they'll forever say 99%. And they're not going to retract that because they like the outcome. But there's other things as well that will bring that number down. And I'm not going to go into all those, but you can bring that number down to 0% just by following the numbers. And that's one of the things that I wanted to show you. Everything in evolution is like that, though. You can go through and show that there's difference in their numbers and what the actual numbers is. Okay. I can always redraw that. Here's proof against evolution right here. I got a pair of glasses. About 3-4 years ago, I didn't have to. Okay, there are three main. How can I say this? There are three main tactics that evolutionists use in a debate. Let's say you're going online and debate. I go online and debate all the time. But one tactic is they use a framework. And this framework is science versus religion. And if you allow them to use this, you have already lost. You're dead in the water if you allow them to use that. Science means to know. Well, there's my dyslexia coming in. Science means to know. That's what the word means. And of course, religion is what? Trying to be close to God. Yeah. So, Jesus talked about religion. He said that the Sadducees and Pharisees, he said that they were religious. He said they were like whitewashed tombs. They were like bones, empty tomb with dead men's bones inside. And that's kind of the way you are if you use this framework. If you accept that, that's what you are. You're already dead in the water in that debate. You never want to take this approach. They want this approach because it says that they know and that you believe. And the truth is just 180, completely around. Evolution, they believe in what, millions of years ago. The idea that, that they have to use that tells you one thing, is that they don't have evidence, because they say that it's over millions of years, therefore it's not observable. And one of the main things in science is observation. You got to observe stuff in science. That's part of the scientific method. So the idea that something happens over millions of years and you cannot observe it, you've already cut out evidence that is important for science. Hold on while I get my eyes. So main thing is just not to let them use this framework of science versus religion. I say all the time online, I'm like, if I'm in a room of evolutionists, I'm the least religious person there. We have a relationship with God. We're not like the religions of the world that have, where their God never showed up. Our God showed up. He's real. Okay. The next thing is that I want to show you is what's called peer review. And these are 3 tactics that all evolutionists use. And if you go online and debate, they will use these against you. Peer review means that their superiors are in charge, not you. That their superiors have the final say-so. That their peers are the experts. A lot of evolutionists don't know the difference between a government educator and a field scientist. A field scientist is doing science in the field, while a government educator is, grading papers at Starbucks or whatever. So peer review, another thing I say all the time when I'm debating is that, hold on, let me check my notes real quick. Well, I just got a brain part. But the idea here is that what they do is their teachers and their professors and other people who believe in this model, evolution, are the ones in authority, and that's just not the case. You have to understand that it's important for you to stand up to your teachers. You need to stand up to your teachers when they mention stuff like this. I tell people that, anyone who believes we came from monkeys is not qualified to be my peer. They're just not. Anybody that believes that, because that's just pure nonsense. It doesn't matter whether they are, in Oxford University, a professor. And I do debate with a lot of people from various universities around the world. And it doesn't matter what their credentials are. The moment they believe they came from monkeys, they're no longer my peer. They're not my boss. They're not, telling me what is science and what is not. So just be wary when people say peer review, because anything that comes from creation, they will not allow it. If it's a creation article, they'll say, that it's no good. You need a qualified peer to, in order to have any kind of credibility. One of the best examples is a medical journal called PubMed. PubMed is, it's the upper echelon of all peer review papers. It's really, really, really impressive. So PubMed, and there's another one that is NCBI. If you can use those, you should. But here's the thing. I've got a website. It's called Greater Ancestors World Museum. And it's just a website that deals with science stuff and goes off the criteria that God made everything perfect in the beginning. You know, which is true. God made everything perfect. We see everything was bigger, better, faster, stronger, and smarter in the past. And things are getting worse over time. They're not evolving, they're devolving. So, but the funny thing is, they'll be using Wikipedia, or they'll be using, some stuff that's not really good, good science. Discovery, who makes Discovery? Disney owns Discovery magazine. We think of that as being a science journal, but yet, Mickey Mouse is in charge of that. That's Mickey Mouse peer review right there. But the funny thing is that NCBI, one of the best peer review journals there is, it's one of the top. Who have they peered before? Me and my website. They quoted me in my website because I have a lot of medical stuff from ancient history on there. And so they've actually peered me. So, when they start talking peer review, I always have that to go back to. Let me see. So that's two tactics that they always use. The third is one that's more of a distraction, and it's kind of childish. And what they'll do is they'll use slander. They'll use slander against you, and what's called an ad hominem. No, that's not grits. Ad hominem. It's a logical fallacy, and it's one of the many logical fallacies. And the idea is that you get the person off of the subject and attack the person. And evolutionists do this all the time because ultimately they don't want to have a debate. They don't want to discuss creation versus evolution because a lot of times, it's easier to say that there's lots of evidence for evolution. All right, show me one. That stumps them. At that point, they're just ready to fold. Let me give you an example of something that was used a while back. It was Lucy. Who remembers Lucy, the fossil Lucy? Right? It was hailed as the evidence for evolution. And so I started digging into it. And other people will catch on. Once I put some articles and stuff out, other people will pick up, even other writers. They don't quote me. There's a lot of creation groups that don't necessarily quote me. But a little while back, they found out that there were 21 different Lucy exhibits running around the country. 21 simultaneously.